Question number two: when is it time to move on? And I think that's a question that youth pastors. It is a constant question forever and ever and ever, and it's a question we ask regardless of the job that we have. I believe it is a question that we look at and say, okay, is it time to move on? It doesn't matter whether it's you're always called to what you're to do. I'm still doing youth ministry I'm going to be 55 next month, if you can believe that. But I'm still doing it part time because I feel a certain calling to that. Now, my calling may not always be to the church I'm at, because you eventually will say, you know, maybe I've done all I can. And I would say this, and that goes to reason. So let me give you the three reasons people start thinking about their calling, I think, or maybe three reasons that I think about my calling, because I've been in that transition before. Is it trouble? Is it burnout? Or is it completion? Is this a problem? Am I in a toxic church? Am I in a church that is just so messed up it doesn't even know how to do ministry? Is it really hard to work in? And most churches are, I would say, for the most part, just because you're trying to do your best. But there are those exclusive few that are toxic, problematic, making your job unbelievably difficult. And so you start thinking, well, should I leave here? Well, that's like saying this. Listen, I don't, it's like saying the house is on fire. Do I feel called to leave the house? My guess is yes. You don't need a special calling to leave a house that's on fire. Sometimes it's just in your best interest to do so. And God and I don't think you need a special calling from God to leave, because I've heard it say from uh, um, a woman named Nicole, who has a new book coming out called Raise to Stay, says that loyalty is not a spiritual gift. Loyalty is what we decide. We decide what we're going to be loyal to, who we're going to be loyal to, and then we check with the Lord and says, Lord, I can't be loyal to these people. I can't be on their team. It's affecting my heart. It's affecting my spirit. It's affecting those things, and I think you have to then weigh that out. So I think the first thing is it trouble? Are you considering leaving because it's just hard? And I would say this: just because it's hard doesn't mean you should leave. Sometimes the lessons I've learned based on loyalty, there's some places I should have never been that loyal to, but I did learn something. And so sometimes if it's hard, maybe there's something to be learned. And sometimes I think, myself included, maybe I left too soon because I didn't have time to work it out. I was young or stupid or impatient or any of those things. And so I think that if you're young, you should work through those issues and find out if it's their issues or your issues you're actually working through. Okay. And if it's your issues, then what is God saying to you? What is in this time of trouble? What is that trouble revealing about you? And if it's about you, then you got to fix or correct or submit it to the Lord or whatever you got to do with that. The second thing is burnout. Are you feeling a calling to leave because you're burned out? Are you feeling that necessity to leave because you think, you're tired? You're not taking care of yourself. You're not managing your time. You're saying yes to everything instead of saying no to all the things you should be saying no to. You're taking on more burden or more responsibility than you should be taking on, and which is creating this burnout, which then comes to a place where you're saying, did God call me or not? God not call me. That if God had called me here, He'd give me more energy, more of these, and a lot of things that has nothing to do with God. It has everything to do with you, about how you manage your time, how you do your relationships, and some of those things. So sometimes good time management, equipping others to help do ministry. So many youth pastors do the work by themselves, and it's not smart. It's not great. You've got to get people in, or just say no, and I'm not going to do it until I do have help. That's an option. That just don't do it. Just don't facilitate types of ministry that require you to exert all your energy. And if people won't jump on board and help you, then simply say, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to wait until, and I'm going to pray people in, but so that we can facilitate this. And, you let people know that's what we're going to do. So when is it time to move on? Is it trouble, right? Is it burnout? Or I would say the third is it completion? So for me, it's been about, the last church I left, I was there 8 years, and I really did sense there was some burnout, but there was also a sense of I have taken this group about as far as I can take them. Okay, I've taken them as far as I can take them, and I can take them no further. So for me, uh, there is a time when you say I've done enough. I have done everything I think I can do, and when you're looking into other opportunities, and it could be stage of life, phase of life, when you had three small kids and you were in this church and now your kids are teenagers, you may say it's time to move to another place, and God is moving you and opportunities are being afforded to you. And it's time to move on, not necessarily just move up, although you may, but it's time to move on, right? And so I would just say, look, you got to take some time to hear God, to know where you're at in life, and then say, okay, what do I need to do next? So, okay, so the three things, like I said, is are you feeling called to leave because of trouble? Are you feeling called to leave because of burnout? Or are you feeling called to leave maybe because you've done everything you can do? You've done everything you're supposed to do at this particular location.